A new kind of scramble is unfolding across the African continent. But unlike the historical scramble for land and minerals, this emerging contest is centered on something far less visible but significantly more powerful: data.
The Real Casa Show.
Earlier this year, on January 27, 2026, at a high-level conference in Nairobi, the Pan-African Parliament issued a strong and urgent call for Africa to take full control of its data. This was not presented as a distant ambition, but as an immediate necessity. Today, Africa generates vast amounts of data daily through its hospitals, financial systems, mobile networks, and government institutions. However, a significant portion of this data is stored, processed, and controlled outside the continent. This reality raises critical concerns about sovereignty and control. Data is really the new oil. Data is no longer just information. It has become a strategic asset. It holds the power to predict behavior, influence decisions, and shape economies. The Pan-African Parliament's position is clear. If Africa does not control its data, it cannot fully control its future. This is not merely a political statement, but a strategic warning about the direction of global power. At the same time, between February and March 2026, there has been a noticeable increase in foreign engagements across Africa, which is why we're discussing this now, because it's still relevant today. These include health agreements, energy partnerships, infrastructure investments, and as I highlighted in previous episodes, new security and defense pacts. While these initiatives address genuine developmental needs, they also shift attention away from a deeper issue. As focus remains on physical development, a digital structure of control continues to expand quietly in the background. This issue has been described as digital colonization.
A land grab of human life itself that is more than just one more capitalist innovation, that is the next stage of colonialism's evolution.
Unlike traditional colonization, this form does not rely on physical force. Instead, it operates through technological systems, data infrastructure, and ownership of digital platforms. The concept of the cloud often creates the illusion of something abstract. In reality, data is stored in physical buildings known as data centers. The location of these facilities determines who ultimately has the control. When African data is stored outside the continent, African systems become dependent on foreign infrastructure, policies, and decisions. But what we miss is that this dependency creates more vulnerabilities that extend beyond governments to individuals. Personal data, including health records, financial transactions, and identity information. It all becomes part of this broader system of external control. This makes the issue not only political, but deeply personal. Now, historically, African societies placed great importance on protecting knowledge. Information was carefully managed because it was understood to carry power. In the modern era, data represents that same form of knowledge. The central question now is whether Africa is protecting this resource or unintentionally surrendering it. This moment represents more than a technological shift. It is a call for awareness and strategic positioning.
It's time to consider PayAngel. Use our code CASA, a platform designed by Africans tailored specifically to our unique needs. Gen Z, we need services that get us, and PayAngel does. PayAngel understands our needs, offering the best exchange rates and super fast transactions. Whether you're sending money to family or paying for business, it's all about convenience and trust. Plus, with PayAngel's easy-to-use app, you get more for your money and it's always safe. To experience the best service and value, use our code CASA when downloading and transferring. Remember, use our code CASA now. PayAngel, global payments, local simplicity. If you're looking for some amazing West African cuisines in New Jersey, visit Legit African Touch at 52 Ferry Street, South River, New Jersey. Mama's Secret, only continental dishes, preferably Ghanaian or Nigerian dishes, all in Legit African Touch. Get a feel of the African touch now.
Leadership in the modern world is no longer defined solely by control over land and natural resources, but increasingly by control over systems, infrastructure, and data. Ultimately, if Africa does not own and control its data infrastructure, it risks losing control over its digital future as a whole. Now, in ancient African kingdoms, from the Ashanti to the Zulu, and even in the times of ancient Israel, there was such a thing as sacred knowledge, secret knowledge. The elders, the prophets, the priests understood that certain information was so powerful that if an outsider possessed it, they could manipulate the very spirit of the people. That is why knowledge was guarded and protected, and oftentimes not revealed to the general population until the prophets revealed them. This brings the question of who are the guardians of the gate of information, the gateway to the information of the land, of the nation. That is why gates existed, not just physically, but spiritually. Not everyone was allowed inside. Not everyone was allowed to know everything and all things until they were revealed. So the spiritual truth that cuts through all the politics is that when you give your name or excessive information to a stranger, you give them power over you and more or less your destiny. In scripture, in African tradition, in ancient times, a name is not just anything, right? It's not just a label. It carries identity. It carries authority. It carries access. Your data is your name in the digital world. So when Africa reclaims its data, when we build our infrastructure, store our information strategically, and govern our own digital systems, we are not just making a technical decision. We are rebuilding the gates of our cities. The guardians, who has the keys to the gate? We are spiritually restoring what was given up. We are standing at the entrance and telling the world, you can visit, but you cannot own our secrets. You are welcome here, but you do not have the keys. The gates belong to us. It is time we really started acting like it. Today, our secret knowledge is our data, our health patterns, our movements, our conversations, our financial behaviors. This is the modern version of what the elders protected wholeheartedly in the days of Elijah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel. People look at ancient history and think that was then. That doesn't apply now. Well, sorry to burst your bubble, you're wrong. We're in a different era. We're modern, we're digital. But no, the code is the same. Only is that the form is different. The form has changed, but the code is the same. We are not living in a new story. We are living in an old story running essentially on new software, right? So that is why it matters that we pay attention. We're discerning, not with fear, but with wisdom. Because the same God who saw every previous version of this pattern is the same God watching this one unfold right now in real time. Nothing is new under the sun. King Solomon states this in scripture in Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 9. What has been is what will be, and what has been done is what will be done, and there is nothing new under the sun. Africa is not weak. Africa is not in need of really saving. Africa is a continent that has been deliberately and systemically disconnected from its own power, spiritually, physically, and now digitally. But we shouldn't dwell really on that, right? That sets us back. That always keeps us in a mindset that we're inferior or we're less. No, we have the same resource. We have the same opportunities as everyone else too, right? We're not, put aside like we used to be. No, we still have the same opportunities at hand. It's just how are we using it? God is at work. The call and the work of this generation is reconnection. That as we stretch our hands up to God, there will be a revival, a restoration, and an awakening. So let's be vigilant, let's be discerning, and let's move with intention and guard our gates.
The Real Casa Show.